Yeah, thank you very much, Marco, for having me. It's very nice to be back in London for NOAH. In fact, my very first time that I spoke at NOAH about what we were building as a company was here in London in 2016, long time ago. And I believe at the time we just crossed 1 billion euros in brokered deposits. And as I was thinking back, I thought, you often overestimate what you can achieve in the short run, and you underestimate what you can achieve in the long run. And I think generally building real lasting companies takes some time. And we just recently published our 2023 financials. And in 2023, so last year, we generated around 160 million euros in revenue. At the end of 23, we passed 57 billion in AUM, and we generated 20 million in EBITDA. So I think it would be fair to say that after all these years, Raisin is a real company today. I do want to go back, though, and say a few words why we're doing what we're doing. And I think most of us here in the room and most people don't wake up in the morning and are incredibly passionate about managing their savings. Yeah? Most of us are probably passionate about our friends, our families, our pets, our hobbies, but still we want to have financial peace of mind when it comes to savings, because it's obviously a hugely important foundation for people's lives. And so with Raisin, we want to enable people to get a better deal on their savings in a simple and transparent way, so you can have that peace of mind. We try to quantify our impact. And looking back at last year, in 23, in most European countries and in the UK, Raisin customers earned about double the amount of interest that they would have earned at their house bank. In Spain, actually, it was 3 times the amount of interest. And when we look at this year, at 2024, we estimate that Raisin customers will earn around 3 billion euros in interest, which is significantly higher than they would have earned otherwise. And so we feel that makes a real difference to people's lives and hopefully lets them spend more focus on the things that they love. So how did we get here? What was the actual problem that we try to solve with Raisin? Turns out that bank deposits don't sound so sexy. I don't understand why, but most people don't think about bank deposits as the epitome of sexy. However, they're the major building blocks of the global financial system, essentially the largest asset class. So people generally hold about a third of their assets in bank deposits, and bank funding depends around 60% on deposits, of which around 40% is being held by households. So it's a huge market. And if we look at that market has undergone a tremendous shift in rates over the past years. So if you think back in July 2022, the ECB raised interest rates for the first time in 11 years. And since then, we've seen the fastest hiking cycle that we've seen in Eurozone history. And while the hiking cycle seems to have come to an end, and there's expectation, obviously, of the ECB starting with first rate cuts, it's pretty clear that positive interest rates are here to stay in all regions, including the Eurozone, the UK, and the US market. And how are households reacting to this paradigm shift in interest rates? So if you think back during the time of negative interest rates and zero interest rates, we saw a huge shift of people moving their deposits into overnight accounts. And since basically rates have turned into positive territory again, people are moving their deposits into fixed-term deposits in a very big way. The problem is that market continues to be incredibly inefficient. So many banks are not passing higher interest rates on to their customers. If you look at Europe, for example, the pass-through rate in the Eurozone is below 25%. So it's still incredibly hard for people, even though rates have gone up, to get easy access to attractive interest rates. And on the other side of the equation, it's actually also reasonably difficult for banks to get efficient access to sticky and stable retail funding, which has also become more and more important for banks, which, for example, the recent bank run on Silicon Valley Bank has shown. And with Raisin and our platform, we essentially solved that problem. So we transformed the value chain and turned bank deposits into a marketplace product. And so on the one end, we enable banks to get plug-and-play, easy and efficient access to sticky and stable retail funding, also across national borders, and they can reach millions of customers, either through our own B2C marketplaces, the Raisin marketplaces, or through third-party channels that we power for our B2B partners. And on the other hand, as a saver, you can get easy and efficient access to best-in-class savings products and much higher interest rates, all through one bank account. And so this creates huge efficiency in the system, and it also creates very significant flywheel effects, because obviously the more banks you have in the platform, the more attractive it becomes for savers to join the platform, and the more savers you have on the platform, the more attractive it becomes for banks to join the platform. So where are we in terms of performance and growth? So we've this year already crossed 65 billion in AUM. We added more than 25 billion in AUM in the last 12 months. And the company's also really become a global company. So if we look at the growth in the last 12 months, more than 50% of our growth has come from international markets, so non-German markets, and the US today is our second largest market at Raisin. What's also great is that growth has been incredibly resilient throughout all of the recent geopolitical or market crises, from COVID to the market volatility around Silicon Valley Bank. So today, basically, the company's been continuously profitable since Q4 2022. It's still growing very, very substantially. And I think since I've been here for the first time in 2016, every year I have said, we're just getting started. And even though we've been doing this for 10 years, I don't think it's felt more true today than ever before if we look at the trajectory of the company, and also if you look at the fact that in terms of deposit market coverage, we're still in the 0-point-something territory. So I apologize to all of you who had to listen to me and our story probably over and over again over the last 10 years. But I'm afraid we're here to stay and we'll be back at NOAH. And want to thank you. Want to thank Marco for having us and wish all of you a great NOAH conference. Thanks.